Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Talk Exchange. Today, we're going to switch things up a little bit and have our communications director, Christy Lindau, interview our CEO, Tracey Edwards. Tracey has a really great history. She's got a lot of experience. She's actually the first female executive director in the Exchange Club's 112-year history. So she's going to talk all about how she stays goal-oriented, her family and community involvement in Exchange over the years, how she navigated things during the pandemic, and all sorts of other great information. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode with Tracey Edwards.
Welcome to this episode of Talk Exchange. I'm super excited for this episode. We are going to get to know our CEO, Tracey Edwards. Tracey, I know you've been on all of these episodes so far.
Yes.
You've traveled the country, but people want to know more about who you are, what makes Exchange part of your life. So let's go ahead and let's delve into that.
Okay, this should be fun.
Yeah. So for those people who don't know you, who've never met you before, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am proud to be the first female CEO of the National Exchange Club in its 112-year history. So that's super exciting. And, you know, I always tell people I feel like I'm just in the place I was meant to be. And I recognized that when I first got involved with Exchange, it was at the same time when Steve and I were buying a new house in Perrysburg, Ohio. And I met somebody at the office, told them where we were moving to, and he stopped and said, "Oh my gosh, that's the Exchange Club raffle house."
Oh, cool.
And then I learned about how that was almost like they do for St. Jude now. So the Exchange Clubs in Toledo had a raffle house that they raffled off. And I didn't win it, but I was the third owner. And so this person who was telling me about this saved everything and brought in the flyer and the tickets, and it had a picture of our house on it. And it said, the first owner was the Exchange Club. I think it said Exchange Club of Greater Maumee Bay, maybe, or maybe National. But anyway, it was just super cool. So we had it framed and matted and hung it in the entry. And it probably doesn't mean as much to the next owner, but to us, it meant a lot because it just tied everything together because, Steve and I both come from community service oriented families, and community service is important to us. And to have that all work together was really neat. So I learned a lot about Exchange via Steve's membership because he joined, gosh, I think it's been 20 years ago now. He had joined an Exchange Club, and our son, Nick, and I became immediately involved, and we loved that we could participate in things too and get to know the service area of Exchange.
And it's come full circle.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Here you are now. You started out as our senior finance manager?
Yes.
Is that correct?
No, I started out as the part-time finance, I think, what did they call me? Assistant finance manager, I think. And I was just going to do it very part-time and not for very long. And timing is everything.
And here you are.
Yes.
Doing a great job running the organization. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to share something I know about you.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I know that you are very much a morning person. And that stands out to me because I am very much not a morning person. So I'm always curious, what motivates you when you open your eyes? What makes you sit up and say, time to get out of bed and get this day going?
Well, being thankful for one thing. I'm just always thankful for a new day and really the possibilities. I've always been a person who sees possibilities and what can we accomplish today, no matter what that is. If it's a day off and I want to do something, if it's a day in the office, but I like to think about what can be done, really. And I've always kind of been that person. I wake up just ready to go. I don't think I've ever had a day where I thought, gosh, I don't feel like going to work. I don't operate on what I feel like doing. I operate on what can I do today? What are the possibilities? So that's a great way to wake up every day, really.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I'll have to see if I can try it at some point in my life. I do know, we'll be at conventions working until midnight, 1 a.m, and I get up at 5 and I've already got a text from Tracey. Doesn't this woman sleep?
Barely. A little bit. Just enough, as I like to say. Yeah.
So you're very goal oriented.
Oh yeah.
What goals are you working on right now?
Oh gosh, always something. I would say something. I'm working on a lot of governance things because the new administrative year for exchange just started. So we have a board that's mostly new people.
Hmm.
And so, per our strategic plan, we do a lot of training of the board, a lot of focus on governance and strategic planning.
Hmm.
So, I'm just delving into that because there's always something new. There's always a new way to present it.
Right.
And I love that type of learning. Also, facilitation. We have our online sessions for our leaders, like our
Hmm.
district presidents and presidents elect, our volunteer field reps. So, we have a lot of different training groups.
In exchange, when we do our trainings, when we
Mhm.
talk about our exchange education portal, we talk about how exchange benefits the whole person. We talk about
Yes.
how it can influence nearly every aspect of someone's life. And I know you say the same thing, you speak from experience. So, can you share a little bit with everyone about how exchange is shaped more than just your career?
Oh, absolutely. We do like to be able to say that we can develop the whole person because,
Hmm.
I always think about those people who have been in exchange 5, 10 years, but we have members who've been in exchange for 50 and 60 plus
Yeah.
years. And I think about, that at that point is part of the fabric of their life, right?
Hmm.
They go to these meetings every week, they participate in these things. So clearly, it means so much to them that it's a big part of their life. So, in putting together things like our education portal and different aspects that we do, it's something that's been really thoughtfully designed so that it reaches somebody who's new in their career,
Hmm.
somebody who's new in their community, somebody who can be a mentor to those people,
Right.
somebody who's maybe a new retiree, somebody who's challenged in an area. So it's a really broad spectrum. And I always encourage people to really get your family involved,
Hmm.
get your community involved in this because we truly have something to benefit everyone.
Right.
When somebody needs to come to a local exchange club and walk out seeing themselves being part of that group,
Hmm.
that's how they connect and feel like they're welcomed. But more important than being welcomed, they need to feel like they're going to belong.
Right.
It's nice to welcome somebody and make them feel like, oh, we're glad you're here. But to see yourself being part of that long term
Hmm.
is a different feeling that takes it to the next level. And we really offer that, I believe, in clubs nationwide.
I agree so, and I
Hmm.
have seen that in your life too.
Hmm.
Your pride in your membership, not just your employment. I've seen
Hmm.
your pride in watching, um, benefits and relationships that we've fostered here in Toledo grow because you've put
Hmm.
so much of yourself into that, and it's definitely worth noting. I think that you do your exchange club business on your free time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah, you
Hmm.
actually are a member and this has shaped your life.
Hmm.
So right there.
Well, most definitely. My son is a member of an exchange club. He has been
Hmm.
for a long time. And I'm really proud of that. It's not something that I forced, it was something that
Right.
he really had the genuine heart to do. And I love that he enjoys it.
Yes.
He loves to call and tell me about his meeting and the food and the
Hmm.
situation, what they're experiencing. And that's so cool because that's how community service starts, really, is with the people around you, whether, like it's your children. Like I know that
Yeah.
you're taking your kids to serve meals at the Ronald
Hmm.
McDonald House, and that'll be a great experience for them. And we took Nick a lot of the times to the Cherry Street Mission here in Toledo, and we took food and made
Hmm.
food. And I loved, looking out and seeing him talking to clients
Yeah.
and, enjoying music with clients when he was very little, to just really, you know, embody that spirit at
Yeah.
a young age because you want to continue to do that.
Absolutely. I
Mhm.
know, and Nick probably never wants to hear me say this again, but when I started here 10 years ago, when I
Yes.
started working here, we were all much younger. I
Yes,
had
a little
little,
bit,
little
yeah.
guys,
I
and
know.
Nick was still playing timeout Teddy. And
Oh
he
my
did such a
gosh,
good job. Yeah,
yes.
we would go down to the Mud Hens games,
Mhm, mhm.
our farm baseball team here in town, and he would play timeout Teddy, and our kids loved it. He really got engaged. He wasn't just in the costume, he
That
was in the
is true.
role.
Those were good times, though. You're right about that. To have, he always said, "Boy, people are so happy to see that character. It just brings a smile to
Hmm.
their faces," and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Wow. So it seems like a million years
I
ago, doesn't
know
it?
it
I know, it was
does.
fun.
So Tracey, we look back over the last 3 years.
Mhm.
Everybody knows the last 3 years have been
Yes.
chaotic. We couldn't even begin to put it all in a nutshell, right? Or
Right.
wrap it all up with a nice little bow.
Mhm.
But we've seen dramatic changes. What have you
Absolutely.
learned about yourself during this time?
Well, I would say what I learned about myself is that I don't let an obstacle get in the way. And, I'm really proud of our team.
Mhm.
You were a big part of that in working through that with me. And I remember the day that I picked up the phone and called, then National President Russ Finney.
Mhm.
And, we just said, we're not going to stop. And we then took exchange clubs into the Zoom space, taught them how to use
Right.
Zoom, taught them how to conduct meetings. So we never stopped.
Mm-mm.
And it was fun and it was challenging. And I think just that spirit of perseverance is something that I learned about myself,
Mhm.
and just always believing. The thing that always hits home for me with exchange, which is why I'm still here and still so involved, is, I believe in our future. And,
Mhm.
and that's what I thought about in that moment back in March of 2020, was that we still had things to do. And, I always think about this phone call. Remember when we were just picking up the phone and calling random members?
Yes.
Yeah, just to thank them, see how they were
Mhm.
doing. And I remember I picked up the phone and talked to a gentleman who said that he, obviously isolated. He lived alone. He, you know, didn't have much going on, but that Zoom Exchange Club meeting, he said, saved his life.
Oh.
Through the pandemic, it was his only human connection.
Oh my.
So he looked so forward to that. And I think, when you start to take things for granted, it's important to think about how much it means to somebody else. And
Right.
and I truly connected that to, we have such an opportunity in our clubs. Loneliness is a pandemic. The
Mhm.
Surgeon General said that in May of this year, in fact.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
So, in fact, I'm going to talk about that in the next magazine letter that
Okay.
I write. So, because we have the solution.
Mhm.
Get people involved, get them giving
Yeah.
back, get them into a place where people care about them. We'll miss them if they miss a meeting.
Yes.
We'll invite them to things. That's how that works in helping people in that moment. So that's what we did so well during the pandemic, was really continue to bring people together, continue to make people feel valued. And we put on a virtual convention.
Hey, we had a great
We
time.
did.
We
We
did.
did.
I'm not going to say there wasn't some
Oh
stressful
gosh, no.
moments, but
That
we
is true.
pivoted and we had a good time doing it.
We
And,
did.
going back to when we were making those phone calls,
Yes.
such an intriguing idea.
Mhm.
How many members we have across the country
Right.
and compared to how many staff we have. But
Yes.
the fact, and I think we all looked forward to those moments when
Definitely.
we set time aside to just randomly pull a name out of our database and give
Mhm.
that person a call to see how they were doing. It did a lot for the staff too. I think for our
Yeah.
morale.
You know what?
Hmm.
That's a good point. And I think too, it's so important to touch the average member, because, like with most organizations, most of our time and resources are spent on such a small minority of people, right?
Yes.
The leaders, people that are at a certain level, the people that you come to know because they're so involved. But honestly, when I show up to the office in the morning and sit in that seat, the first person I think about, and I don't know why I ever picked this state, and it's coincidental because I know we'll be talking to a person from there on an upcoming episode, but I always think about the random person in Idaho who has no idea that any of us exist,
Right.
that don't know they're part of a national organization, that don't know we have a headquarters in Toledo. That's the person I want to reach.
Absolutely. Hmm. To thank them. Mostly,
Absolutely.
you
Yeah,
bet.
definitely. And find out, what can we do to enhance your member experience?
Exactly.
Part of the difficult thing about a model like this is we work for the National Exchange Club and we want every club to be awesome.
Hmm.
But how do we assure that that happens, right?
We keep plugging along.
Yes, just by providing them with so many great tools and resources like this, letting
Hmm.
them know we're here and what's available, and all the other things that we've developed for them.
Well said. I think she's trying to take my job. If I had to pick one word that effectively describes exchange and why
Mhm.
it works, I would have to pick unity.
Absolutely.
So how great that it's our motto, unity for
Yes.
service. Um, I had a feeling you would agree with me when I was writing this question,
Okay.
but I want you to tell us, what role do we have in unity for service
Mhm.
to help our ever divided country.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And I think when I think about unity for service with exchange, I think back to one of my first meetings when I decided I wanted to join a local exchange club
Hmm.
that was different from the one my husband joined, just because, different times, different culture of clubs, those sorts of
Sure.
things, what I wanted to do. And I remember I was at a meeting and I looked around the table and I thought, wow, you know what? I would have never met any of these people
Hmm.
anywhere else in
Right.
no other situation. We had literally probably nothing in common
Hmm.
other than we wanted to get together and focus on that part of the community and helping and making it better and those sorts of things. So it hit me then how strong that is. And I think about how almost every organization has a qualifier, right?
Hmm.
Like you can join if
Correct.
you are this educated, if you are of this faith, if you
Hmm.
are whatever the case may be. We don't have any of that. We bring people together in unity for service who have a stake in the community and the good of the community. They all want it to be better. People, I
Hmm.
believe, are well intended, but how do they do that? So we bring those people together. And truly, I think part of the great thing about clubs like exchanges, to their credit, most people can put aside their
Hmm.
differences and focus on something they have in common, which is a project that's benefiting the community.
Exactly.
And that's really a great thing. And everybody can do that.
Hmm.
And imagine what a great world it would be if they did.
Oh, what a beautiful song
Yes.
that is.
Yes.
We don't own the rights, so we can't say
That's true.
it.
And nobody wants me to sing it, so we're good.
So, continuing in that vein of thought,
Mhm.
though, how can our members? So, our clubs are supposed to be microcosms of their societies,
Yes.
and
Yes.
each club is representative of different regions of the country
Mhm.
where values and whatnot can differ. So, how do our
Sure.
members see beyond those differing social, political, religious views? Um, see beyond those and serve together.
Well, the first step may be just in letting the members know and having them sit back and recognize that we are comprised of different people,
Hmm.
that exchange is made up of people of different faiths and backgrounds and cultures. Sometimes people only see their club in their
Yes.
area. But if they knew that around the country we have very diverse people in clubs,
Hmm.
and that's really what makes some of the best clubs tick,
Yes.
right? And then when they do bring their communities along, I think that's super cool because it's fun to think about how maybe the people we serve can and will want to get involved with us at some
Hmm.
point.
Hmm.
And really, that's the perfect cycle, right? Is if we
Hmm.
touch people in the community, they appreciate it.
Yes.
And then they say, you know what, I want to get involved and do this too. And it's everybody kind of working together in unity for service.
Right.
To me, that's the whole meaning of everything we do.
I like that. I like it. Service through understanding
Yes. Yes.
and by
That's good.
example. Yes.
Exactly.
So we're going to go ahead and get wrapped up. I know you probably have things you need to do today. But Trace, let me ask you, is there anything we haven't talked about that you'd like to share with people? Anything that you'd like to touch on?
Well, we are part of the bigger community service industry. And
Hmm.
even in that group, again, I think it's important for our members to see and realize that we're part of a larger industry.
Hmm.
Obviously, at the end of the day, where we sit at the national headquarters, we're running the business portion.
Right.
And in addition to that, we're serving our members and developing great tools and resources for their use to really give them a seamless member experience,
Yes.
make it easier to step into a leadership role and that sort of thing. But just to realize that, when we think about that entire industry, that community service is still necessary. The
Absolutely.
things that clubs do to bring people together are part of the fabric of society and very
Hmm.
necessary in that moment when they're putting on a fair or a festival or a rib fest or something. They're bringing people out of their home, off
Yes.
the couch, away from the phone maybe, and bringing people together for something that's fun and meaningful and benefits everyone there. So when you think about that, how poignant it is, yet and important, but
Hmm.
yet people tend to overlook it because they're going through the motions of
Right.
making it all happen. But the work that members do is important and very
Hmm.
necessary, and we want to bring people along.
I agree. And they can go ahead and share their stories about what's happening and working in different parts of the country, through our mobile
Yes,
app, Facebook, Instagram, any of the social medias. We've got a lot
absolutely.
of information out there, and tools that allow clubs and members to connect and share ideas.
Right. And that's a big thing too, because I think about, how do we reach the people who don't want to read something, who
Right.
would rather listen to something? That's how this came about,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so we really have done a great job, our entire team, of finding ways to reach people.
Hmm.
So whether it's social media, that is an important aspect of any organization, especially for us.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
We try to meet people where they are.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So we
Make it
offer
easy.
offer a lot to our members, and I'm really proud of that.
Me too.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for taking the time to sit down with me, Tracy. I know our
absolutely.
members are going to love hearing about you. And, hopefully we'll receive some follow up questions and we can do another interview.
Oh, that would be good. We love questions. So definitely reach out and send in your questions and give us your feedback on all of our episodes.
Love it. All
Thanks,
right.
Christy.
Thanks, Tracy. Bye bye.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Started a little bumpy.
Yeah.